What's up, guys? I am back. I am caught up. I know all the secrets of what went down in the forest in the Yellowjackets season 2 finale. So let's get into it. Let's get into that first scene because this is one of my favourite scenes of the entire 2 seasons. Obviously, you know, in my last review, I talked a lot about the dramatic impact of the fact that the girls had killed Harvey, Travis's brother, and were going to eat him. But even I was not prepared for the episode to pick up seconds later, right in that moment, right in the second of Travis realizing that, of coming face to face with the girls, walking in with his little brother like a pig on a spit over their shoulders, not giving a fuck, and he is about to see that he's lost, you know, the most important person in his life, and that these savages have done that to him and done that to his brother. It was so well done in the way he sees Natalie, who's the girl he's kind of falling for, sees her first, and he's so relieved. Oh my god, you know, the love of his life, or at least his crush, has survived. And then the way her face falls, and it's I might have survived, but your brother didn't, and that's kind of because of me. And now here he comes, and the emotion that scene had, the overwhelming, just to pick up like seconds later and just to show us that kind of union, the merging of the two worlds of somebody who's still sane but has lost their father and is now about to see they've lost their brother, and then these huntresses coming back in. It was the best possible opening they could have had to this episode and to the finale, and I was literally watching it, oh my god, and I was like almost like welling up. I was like, I can't believe like that I am gonna see this, and it was just so impactful just to see them carrying in, you know, the little brother. It's something I didn't mention last week, is that Harvey is the youngest of all the people, all the victims of the plane crash, all the people who were lost in the forest. So he had the most life to live. So it's just so wrong that it was him that was killed. And I know a lot of predictions is that the girls were going to eat Coach Ben, who's the oldest, who's somebody of maybe about 30, the only adult in the situation, and also has the most meat on him. So it was such a great twist that it is Harvey that gets the chop and the bite. I'm watching this and I was like, oh my god, and I was like, Harvey, go for it, like go in there and get those girls. Like I wanted him to explode on them. I was ready for so much catharsis because we, as the audience, like a lot of us have been pretty turned off by what the girls have done. I know some of us understand them. I know there's still ways in which we're rooting for them. But then on the other hand, like we kind of just want to see them get some kind of comeuppance, or we just want to kind of see it like be, you know, they've got this pact because they were all complicit in it, but you just want to see someone kind of hold them to account. So Harvey, Travis, I was so ready. I was ready for that catharsis, to the point where I think it was a bit of a missed opportunity because it doesn't really go in that direction. He's just in shock. He's in grief, which makes you, you know, feel for him even more and against the girls even more. But then obviously as we see the episode unfolds, we'll get into it more, but he ends up, I was like, another great dynamic is he going to eat his brother? We kind of know what happens there, and then he ends up bowing to the new queen. So that was kind of a real shock, and I do wonder, I'd be curious to know if you agree with me, was that a missed opportunity for catharsis? Because when is there going to be another moment and another chance for somebody to hold the girls to account, and how much more wrongdoing can they do than take somebody's younger sibling? So I kind of feel like missed opportunity there, but that's like up until that moment where, up until the moment where, you know, we see what choice he makes later in the episode. That opening was absolutely phenomenal. I think also with what I'm talking about, I have to caveat it with, they do bring him in and he is very obviously blue. He is frozen blue, so it's kind of obvious that he fell in the lake, not that they like stabbed him to death. So I think he's kind of taking it and believing, okay, well, you know, he's drowned and frozen, he didn't see what happened. So it's not so much that he knows that like they let him die and they basically hunted him, and you know, Natalie swapped the place and things like that. But obviously I'm sure that's all kind of in the back of his mind. So again, kind of an amazing opening, and I just really enjoyed more of what came from the fallout of Harvey's death. It was so interesting seeing Lottie talking to Misty about it, and the fact that Lottie is like the only person who wasn't complicit and the only person who doesn't have any survivor's guilt is just such kind of an interesting angle and direction that they've gone in. Also so interesting that, you know, Van does not feel guilty. She's just glad she's alive, and she's just, you know, hungry, and all of them are like, it's not evil, we're just hungry. You know, it's just so carnal and so primal, the direction that they're going in now with the girls. And this was very good storytelling because this developed into a whole new kind of angle of the plot, where I think we have finally found out who is the Antler Queen, or going to be one of the Antler Queens. And it was actually one of my predictions, which I stay away from predictions because I don't like to spoil myself, so I'm honestly kind of annoyed that I predicted this. And actually, to be honest, I had heard in another review somebody suggesting that it would be Natalie, simply because she said something about the pit in her stomach, and they were like, oh, is that like a reference to Pit Girl? So that's kind of why it was even in my head, because I wouldn't usually try and guess. But basically, she was, just chosen for the hunt, and they all just tried to murder her, and then she ends up letting Harvey die in her place, which I think a lot of people wouldn't judge her for that. They'd see it as just survival instinct kicking in, but she feels incredibly guilty. And then we get back to the cabin, and Lottie is still kind of being the leader and is obviously recovering, but Lottie's saying that the woods have chosen, nature has chosen who should have died, who it wanted to feed them, and has chosen her to survive, wouldn't let her die. She was the woods, the wild's favourite, and that means that it's the nature, it's the wilds electing her to be the new queen, and she must now be the new leader. And then they had like a really fantastic sequence of the girls bowing and declaring their allegiance to her, and it's just so cool when they play with this whole Ant the Queen thing, and when they actually make it that she's being bowed and curtsied to. Loved it. Great ideas, great direction, and then my goodness, cannot wait to see it play out, because I really do think that we're going to step it up next season. As I'm saying that, I'm like, ugh, I hate that it's taking 2 seasons to get to the point of the real meat of the story, which I know, I've said that a lot, and I know they've kind of been slow burning it. I just think there could have been a way to get there quicker. I do think we're going to get series 3 a lot quicker than series 2. Won't be a 2-year gap, because it's already been commissioned and greenlit. It was greenlit back in December before the show series 2 even aired, so we probably will get an update on this next year. But basically, I was like, wow, are we now going to get to see Natalie be a villain? And I'm more sure than ever that we're going to see her villain sidekick in, because of what happened with Natalie in the present day. So let's link to the present day, where the girls are at the cold, the women are at the cold, and they decide to recreate the hunt, mainly just to throw Lottie off, and there's plans to get Lottie sectioned and things like that, and it's Shauna that they're hunting. And then there's obviously many more things going on that I'll get into, but that hunt culminates in one of the young girls who works at the cult kind of coming and trying to hurt Natalie, because she believes she's after Lottie. Misty jumps in to protect her by stabbing the girl with the syringe of poison, but she gets her best friend Natalie instead. And I really did not think that Natalie was going to die in this scene, to the point where perhaps in series 3 she'll show up again, but no, even as I'm saying that, she was declared dead at the scene. So I do think that we are done with the Natalie character in the present day, and we're done with Juliette Lewis. And I think the reason they've done that is to make way for Natalie as a villain in the scenes in the past, and that is kind of saying that that character is kind of going to be beyond redeeming and beyond atonement, and we aren't going to want to see much of her in the present day, and we're not going to be able to kind of connect with her as, forgive her and go along with her as a kind of normal character when we see what she got up to when she was the Ant the Queen. So I'm kind of very excited that they've freshed the show up by ripping out one of the 4 leads in the present day, which I didn't think they were going to do, because I think it's going to give us a real load of freedom to where they're going to go in the past. There's 2 sides to it, and I'm really not sure, because in a lot of ways, and that I've said in all my reviews, I'm not so interested in the present day stuff, so I kind of like that they're just ripping her out in the present day, because then we can go to town with her in the past, and the 2 characters so don't line up, and one just seems like a bitter carcass, done, it's said in that scene where she's dying and she sees herself on the plane. I've been here for a long time, or we've been here for a long time, we've been dead inside for a long time, so there's kind of not much you could do with that character. However, we're then losing the whole storyline. We're going to see the villain play out, and then we're not going to see her getting any comeuppance or seeking any atonement in the present day, because she's been able to sort of on screen get away with it and die and be off screen. So in a way, we're losing, now we're going to see her as the villain, and then we're not going to see our villain in the present day, and we're losing that storyline. So it's quite a strange choice to make, quite a strange swing, and if I had to pick, I'd probably say keep her in so we can see those things play out. However, there's a massive positive to it, I think, because I think that storyline is wrapped up, and now we can really kind of get lost in the Ant the Queen character in the past, and not be sitting there kind of knowing that, oh, but she's she's nicer these days, and oh, maybe she'll atone, and I don't want to see her be that bad, because I kind of like her modern day version. I want to see her modern day version be happy one day. I think they've done this so we can kind of get lost in the character of the Ant the Queen. And then something else I loved loved is that it's not the only Antler Queen that I think we're going to see, because Shauna has been one bad bitch throughout the whole season, literally since the end of season 1, when she bloody locks her friend out in the snow and manslaughters her friend, and then she's crying and all that. I was like, no, you are a bad bitch and you're a bad girl. And Shauna, I knew that, like, and the way that Melanie Lynskey is playing her, I knew that, like, she was a devilish little thing. And we see when the Antler Queen has been elected, there's only one girl that they focus on that's not happy about it, and it's Shauna sitting there writing in her diary going, how could it not have been me? Yeah, I thought it was Jackie that made me invisible, but oh, it's everybody. And she is just, you know, this savage, and she's this girl that wants to be the queen bee, wants to be on top, and is the one who really has the most kind of carnal impulses. She's the one that skins Harvey and feeds Harvey to everyone. She is maybe the one who can go as bad as possible, you know, and can really take us to the depths. So how exciting is it going to be to see rival Antler Queens fighting for that position, and what are they going to do to get to that position? So they've set up something absolutely, you know, glorious again for season 3. Coming back to, of course, the death of Natalie. I hate that it was Misty that accidentally killed her best friend again. I think it's like the 3rd time she's done that, and has got more guilt and more survivor's guilt to live with. I hate it. I wish it was somebody else. I wish it was Lottie. I wish it was Van. I wish it was any of the other characters, because it's going to be so hard to see her try to contend with that when, you know, all she was doing was trying to save her life, and it just makes her character even more tragic. I hate that, and it's going to be really fascinating to see where the dynamic now of the 4 characters go. I think that at the end of this, Lottie said, we gave, you know, nature what it wanted. We gave them a sacrifice for the hunt, and it's going to reward us. I think Van's going to recover from her cancer, which is going to make, you know, the supernatural element of the story kind of amped up even more for us and for the girls. For Shauna's daughter, who you can see is kind of drawn into and allured by Lottie's cult. Obviously, they've given her a lot of screen time in this series, so that's obviously like something that they want to start doing with her. The other things that happened in the present day was just a little bit more of that tomfoolery of Elijah Wood's character killing like a kind of FBI agent. So wrapping up, hopefully, this Adam Martin murder thing. So I was like, that's the whole Adam thing. It was just for there to be like more cheeky, cheesy murders that they can kind of sneakily bury, and they all kind of carry on getting away with it. And Jeff's now kind of embroiled because he's buried a body. I don't know if this is all going to topple up and come out one day, but the present day stuff is not going to be like them all in jail. That's not what we want to see. So I think it's just kind of showing them like getting more and more like, you know, embroiled in a messy situation because of what they did in the past. It's okay, but I really think it kind of confirms for me that if we could just have all of this show in the past and really get to indulge and take our time with the scenes in the wilds, I think that'd be a lot better. And maybe the fact that they've ripped out that Natalie character now kind of shows that they feel that too, and maybe we will be getting more characters ripped out. And what I think I would love is, obviously I know they need to balance the 2 storylines. They're not going to get rid of all the present day stuff, they're not going to get rid of those fab actresses, but maybe if we could have full episodes set in the wilds so we can really kind of immerse ourselves in those, and then, you know, episodes where they share the screen time, I'd be very happy with that. So that'd be my suggestion, and I think perhaps we'll get that as we get, you know, deeper into what went down in the forest, because there is even more that's going to go down. So I'm going to get into the final element of this show, and one of the other things I absolutely love that I was not expecting. So I kind of see there's still about 8 minutes of the episode to go, and I was like, gosh, like, you know, what could happen next? Like a lot happened at the end, and what do you know, like hullabaloo, there they all are in their cabin that has been obviously their saviour from the beginning of the show, especially in this series where they have been deep in winter. It was only last review when I was talking about how they're in this incredible snowy landscape, and thank God they've got that warm cabin with that sizzling, crackling fire, and they would be lost and dead without it. You know, Harvey was managing to survive in cave, but none of them know about that cave except for Coach Ben. So they wake up after their crazy, chaotic night, and they find that they are on fire. Their cabin is burning, and not only is it on fire, but when they try and get out, what was interesting was Natalie, the new queen, was kind of trying to get them out, pulling at the door handle, not doing a good job, just burning her hands, and it was other people that had to chop their way out. So that might play in to her Antler Queen arc, because who knows, maybe she won't be the villain, you know, maybe that's kind of a red herring. they can't get out. They've been barricaded and bombarded in. And I was pretty fascinated because I was like, could this have been like Natalie or like a jealous Shauna, or an obvious choice would be Travis, or could this have been Coach Ben? I actually looked at the Wikipedia just for doing this review in case I'd forgotten anything, and it says in the Wikipedia like plot summary, episode summary, that it was like Coach Ben. So I'm going to take that as fact. I don't think that is guaranteed, or maybe did I miss something? Let me know if I missed like some detail, but I'm going to take that as fact because everybody else did look very surprised, and Coach Ben was the only one who wasn't around. And I think this is a fantastic direction to go in with sexy Coach Ben. I think first series we thought, oh, is he going to end up having an affair with one of them? And then this series we just see him as totally, lost, losing it, just chopped liver, and everybody thinks that he is basically food, that he is a big muscly juicy thing that's going to end up getting eaten. But no, we now see that Coach Ben can see how unethical and immoral these girls have been. He tells Natalie, you're not like the others, and you and me need to go and survive this cave for the winter, because he thinks she's the only one worth living. He's seen all the rest of them behave so awfully, and he's kind of the only person that didn't eat Jackie, so he has all this kind of moral high ground on them. He hasn't eaten Harvey either, and he has seen all that play out, and now that is finally it's going to be turned around and used against them, where he really does not like and has any respect for these girls, and he's out for revenge. He's bloody tried to burn them all. He's barricaded them in and tried to burn them, so now he's turned into a little villain living in his cave, and it's going to be him versus them. And there's just such a fucking fascinating direction to go in. Fantastic setup, did not expect it, can't wait to see it play out in series 3. Great use of the coach, like whatever writer came up with that in the writers room, huge hit of inspiration, because him versus them, it's going to be wild. And we had no updates about him in the present day, dead or alive. I think he's definitely alive, and he must be some 60-year-old man now, and who knows what he is up to. He must be a total dilf, and I can't wait to see him next season. Maybe they'll use the same actor and age him up with makeup, because that does often happen when you have an adult actor do the time jump. And yeah, it's just fascinating, not least because he screwed them over, because thank God they all get out, but now their cottage has burnt the hell down, and they are in one thick winter. It looks like it's right there, it doesn't look like it's about to clear up. There's at least another month of that to go. How are they going to survive? What the hell are they going to do? So they've been put in an even more precarious, disastrous situation. You could see it on all their faces. It was great acting. So pretty bombastic, a lot to compliment, not much to criticize. I think I mentioned, that Travis, he even bowed to the new Ant the Queen, which I was really shocked by, and he did. There was a great dynamic for about 20 minutes. Is he going to eat his brother? And then he does. He eats his heart, which I think was kind of like nice. I don't think he got much like nourishment from it. But I just wonder, like, that's the kind of thing obviously that drove him to suicide in the future. I kind of wish that character was still alive, because there's probably a lot you could do with him in the future, considering everything that he went through. I think that's everything. So Yellowjackets season 2, I think you did beat Yellowjackets season 1. I think you did a pretty bombastic job. You could have always given me more. My suggestion is give us full episodes in the wilds, please. And I think series 3 is going to be, absolutely rocking. There's not that many series that I like to save series and binge. This one I was very keen on, but I had just enough distance from it. I thought I can watch this episode by episode. I don't need to save. This is a massive treat to binge. Next season, I think I might do that, because I think the level they're going to step it up to is be unbelievable. Then again, maybe I won't do that, because it's nice to watch it along with you guys and discuss it along with you guys. So as long as I don't end up in the wilds being a cannibal, that is probably what I will do. So thanks so much for watching these reviews. It's been great chatting with such a kind of popular show with you all, and I'll be back with something else equally edgy soon. Have a good evening. Thanks, guys.